other world. In other words, our evolution has made absolutely certain that we can reach the other world, even if we can't get access to plants, because that spirit molecule, as Rick Strassman calls it, is already inside our brain. So yes, the next step in thought control would be to inhibit that spirit molecule and stop any of us ever again from entering the visionary realm.
All right, let's go to our wild card line. It's your turn. Thanks for holding.
Hi, George. It's a pleasure to talk with you again.
Thank you.
Mr. Hancock, I look forward to reading your book, first of all.
Thank you.
And I'm struck by some symbolism here. You mentioned earlier that there was an image on a cave wall of a human with horns and hooves.
Yes,
and
the earliest image ever painted by our ancestors to have come down to us.
Interesting. That conjures up, for me, that to my mind, that's reminiscent of the age-old worldwide symbol of the devil. And then you said that, and a probable variant of the goat of Mendes. And then you said that the Ayahuasca spirit appears to many as a snake or a group of snakes. Well, there you go with some more satanic or demonic symbolism.
Yes,
so my
but you have to remember that the Christian scriptures are edited documents, and if you go to the Gnostic scriptures, which were suppressed by the early Christians, and I'm not surprised they suppressed them because they were afraid of them, if you go to the Gnostic scriptures, you'll find that the serpent is presented as the good guy, not as the bad guy. The serpent is bringing knowledge, after all, to Adam and Eve in the garden.
I don't do the Gnosticism
thing. It seems a strange kind of God that would wish to keep the human creature with its wonderful brain in ignorance. The serpent is a liberator.
I've studied Freemasonry, and they worship the snake as a symbol of wisdom and all that. And I'm absolutely convinced it has evil connotations after looking at Quetzalcoatl in Mexico and what they're doing.
I beg to differ. I have to beg to differ.
Okay, well, look into Freemasonry and the New World Order, and you may open your eyes. So my question is, you've never considered that there may be an evil component to these visions?
I'm certain that the other world includes evil as well as good. No doubt about that. Evil is all around us as well as good. The unique predicament of the human being is that we have the power of choice. We do not have to do evil. We do not have to think evil. We do not have to act in an evil way. We can choose. We are not the victims of these forces. So just as we encounter evil in everyday life and must make our personal choices about it, so also we will encounter evil in the spirit world. But we are free to make our choices. We are not puppets. We are not robots. We are human beings with consciousness, and our consciousness is our greatest gift, and we must use every opportunity to explore it rather than shutting it down.
Interesting. Thank you. Wildcard line, you're on the air with Graham Hancock. Hi there.
Hi, this is Nick. I'm calling from South Dakota.
Hello, Nick. Go ahead, sir.
My question for Graham is this. I've been taking some medication, basically just for some mental disorders and such, and I've always kind of had strange feelings. I don't really care to take them, but I'm kind of concerned about getting off of them. I tried that before, and it had some pretty bad repercussions. But I'm wondering what the adverse effects may be of taking something like that, and if there's
You mean prescription medications?
Yeah.
I think here's the danger, that modern prescription medications for psychological issues are the result of 10 or 20 or 30 years of study. Our scientists, in other words, don't really know what they're doing. They deal out all these antidepressants and various other kinds of psychological drugs, but their track record, their testing period in the human race is 10 or 20 or 30 years. Much better to use plants that have been with humanity since the beginning for tens of thousands of years, never doing any harm. And this is why the shamans, I believe, know much more than the pharmaceutical companies know. There are grave dangers with pharmaceutical psychological drugs, grave dangers, and they can have devastating side effects, although there's no doubt that in some cases they also do help.
Okay, thanks. Let's go now to east of the Rockies. Welcome to Coast to Coast. Hello there.
Hi. George, Graham, nice to talk to you.
Hi.
I'd like to thank the screener, too. She's pretty pleasant. But first of all, I agree with the stuff about the serpent and all that with your side of it, Graham, because
thank you.
Zachariah Sitchin and others like that have talked about that kind of stuff, and it's really interesting. But that's another subject. You talk about, oh God, I'm a little nervous.
Don't worry.
But
Give us it, and we'll help you out here. What direction were you going in?
Well, you talk about DMT. You had Artis had other guests on it, talked about it too, and at first I thought that you were that same guest, and then until you said that you hadn't taken it until 2003.
That's right, yeah.
And so
perhaps you're thinking of the late great Terence McKenna, who was one of the brilliant brilliant thinkers in this field and one of the great explorers of supernatural realms.
Well, I was living in Arizona when I first heard that, and I did a little research on it, and it talked about being near water had an effect.
Yes.
And that's interesting, the fact that you talk about, I didn't put two and two together then, but it's interesting that you talk about being in these rainforests whenever these shamans are using it. So that's all interesting, but I didn't pursue it for very long because I was.
Well, water is to do with the power of place. Rivers, great oceans, lakes. Often these can have an effect on our consciousness. What I'm trying to get across is that human consciousness is infinitely variable, and that it is affected by many different things, and these effects can retune the receiver wavelength of our consciousness. And so, certain environmental phenomena, such as rivers and lakes, undoubtedly do exercise an effect on consciousness as well. And shamans have known this since the beginning of time.
Graham, where do you get the book Supernatural? How do you find it?
Well, Supernatural is available in, of course, all good stores. It's available on Amazon.com. Just look up my name, Graham Hancock, Supernatural, and there it is. It's available through my website, www.grahamhancock.com, and it'll be, of course, available at all the venues that I'm speaking at in October on my tour in the United States. If my publishers have done their job, Supernatural should be in all the shops, and it's certainly available on Amazon.com.
Excellent. International line, where are you calling from? You're on the air. Hi there.
Hi there. My name is Mark from Canada, Winnipeg, Canada. My question for Graham is this. Talks about in the Bible, various scriptures in the Bible, where stay away from strong drink, and it's in the Old Testament and the New Testament. It also talks about stay away from drink, stay away from drugs. And I was just wondering, I know that you talked about that modern society has got like a prejudiced eye or a prejudiced view on that sort of thing. But I was wondering, what is your take on why would the Bible and the scriptures that were written thousands of years ago, why would they warn us to not get involved with drugs and with strong drink? And it also talks about do not contact the spirit world, do not get in touch with mediums.
Good question. Good.
Why would the Bible do that?
Good question. Thank you very much for asking it. I have two chapters in Supernatural where I try to show that every religion that we have in the world today, Christianity, Judaism, Islam, Buddhism, it doesn't matter which religion you choose, if you trace it right back to its origins, you're going to find a shamanic experience, an experience of contact with other worlds. In a sense, Christ is the ultimate shamanistic figure who moves between realms, who is a guide of souls, who is a healer. St. Paul on the Damascus Road has a stunning vision that completely changes the direction of his life. These are the shamanic experiences at the root, at the foundation of all the world's religions. But then, you know what happens? Within a few generations, the money men and the bureaucrats come in, the power-hungry priests who want to control everything about the people who come under them. And the first thing these individuals do, who are not themselves in contact with the supernatural realm, who are simply bureaucrats and powermongers, the first thing that they do is that they ban and forbid all of us to have any direct contact with the supernatural realm because they greedily want to monopolize that position. They want to be the sole intermediaries. And so, unfortunately, all the religions that we have in the world today, although they have a spark at their beginning of direct contact with the supernatural, pretty soon we're looking at things that are really like large corporations or even armies, which are run in a hierarchical fashion and which seek to dictate to the flock what the flock, and notice that word flock as though we're all sheep, mindless sheep, to dictate to us what we may and may not experience. So it's not surprising that all of the mainstream religions ban and punish and in fact used to burn at the stake anybody who explored the supernatural world directly. It's all about control. It's all about power. And that, in the next stage of the human race, as we move forward into this 21st century, that is the burden we